2. 1, 2, 3.
Are you ready, America? It's time for another edition of Game On. With your host, Stevie Ray Braun, and Brad Bad News Bollinger. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Game On. Talking about your favorite sports and different parts of life. Might even get a little take on Lane Kiffin's wife. They tell you what they think, you're not afraid to take a stance. They'll give you the number of pleats in Charlie Weiss's pants. They're the game on guys, see sports through their eyes. Political correctness just up and dies when they give you their views on any sport you want to hear. They're the game on guys, eating fries, drinking beer.
That is indeed the case. We are the Game On guys. Steve Braun, Brad Bollinger, live in your ears. Wherever you might be, however you might be listening. iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor. I don't think I left any out. I probably did, but those are where you can find us. We're everywhere, Brad. Everywhere.
Yeah, we are. We are growing.
And
Still failing, but we are growing.
yes, we are. You failing more than me. What?
Oh, I can't argue that you're right.
TikTok, you can find us at Game On Pod there. Twitter, Game On Guys. Facebook is Game On Pod as well now. You can also email us at emailgameon@gmail.com, and then Game On Sports, I believe, at wordpress.com. .wordpress.com. GameOnGuys.wordpress.com. Yeah. That's a good place. You can go find our Against the Spread picks there and our fantasy picks there and everywhere that we are available podcast-wise. So GameOnGuys.wordpress.com. Check that out. You can see our picks. And, yeah, you can follow us via all our different podcast providers. Anything else I didn't catch?
No.
All right.
I think we're good.
All right. So let's hop into it. Where do you really want to start?
Man.
You want to go NFL? You want to go college football?
I think, you sent me the show rundown. I was looking at it beforehand earlier today, and I was like, oh, he wants pure chaos and emotion from me tonight, I see.
Yes.
I see we're hitting on some sensitive subjects for me in particular, but I think some rather hot topics. I think let's just go in order. Let's start with college.
All right. So Oklahoma loses.
Ugh.
And by loses, I'm putting it kindly. They got killed in Fort Worth against TCU Saturday. I thankfully had to work during part of that, so I didn't get to watch all of the game.
Lucky.
Which was actually to my benefit. Dylan Gabriel goes down, sliding, gets knocked out of the game, concussion protocol. It looks like Nick Evers is getting reps with the first team, according to Brent Venables. That way, Davis Bevel, who was the third-string quarterback at Pitt last year, doesn't necessarily. He may start, but he may not get all the playing time. General Booty doesn't seem to be anywhere near starting, and I know that upsets you, Brad, because of the name.
From the great Booty lineage.
Yes, John
We'll have
David.
to have a segment about them one episode.
I mean, John David, that was a dominant family. Like, Shiloh Christian, I believe, was the school name. Or no, it wasn't Shiloh Christian. It was a Christian school in Shreveport, though. Evangel Academy, I want to say, in Shreveport that they all attended. and that was a dominant family.
They
Anyways,
did. And if
Oklahoma.
you're not familiar, like with OU or that deep into, the college football world, their last name is literally Booty. And this OU player, he's one of the quarterbacks. His name is General Booty. So that is not a joke. That's very real. You can Google it. So just looking out for all my non-college football fans here.
Booty, booty, literally how it's
Like
spelled.
OU played on Saturday.
Yes. So all of that to say, Andy Staples of The Athletic wrote a piece titled "Oklahoma has won plenty in Big 12, but recent losses necessary for SEC standard." And in there, he has a quote from Thad Turnipseed, who is now the executive director for football administration at the University of Oklahoma, helping Brent Venables transform Oklahoma into that SEC program that can compete. In there, he is quoted, Turnipseed is, as "What's different here?" referring to his time at Alabama as a walk-on, a former Alabama walk-on who eventually helped Nick Saban build the infrastructure of that program, who then moved on to help his former teammate Dabo Swinney at Clemson do something very similar, and now is at Oklahoma. He said, "What's different here? They've not really felt any pain," Turnip said. "They've been pretty dadgum good. They've been great." And as Staples goes on to say, in other words, the Sooners haven't stunk. And he points out, Alabama needed the Mike Shula era to make the Saban era possible. Clemson had a chunk of time between Danny Ford's retirement following the '89 season and the decision in 2008 to name then receivers coach Dabo Swinney as the interim coach following Tommy Bowden's ouster. He says, outside of a brief post-Barry Switzer swoon in the 1990s, Oklahoma has been at least above average and usually awesome for as long as anyone currently alive can remember. Crazy part is, Turnipseed uttered those words when Oklahoma was 1-0. That was before they went and beat Kent State, before they whipped up on Nebraska, and before they got their butts handed to them by Kansas State and TCU. So, do you buy into any of that at all, Brad? That Oklahoma, it's almost got to get worse before it gets better for this Oklahoma program as they move forward. And it's kind of what we talked about last week, I think, a little bit, but it came to fruition even more in my mind of there was a lot lost from this Oklahoma team. Offensively, defensively, we all, I think, had a pretty good understanding that the recruiting on the defensive side of the ball under Lincoln Riley was lackluster. It was not up to par. And now you're starting to see the fruits of that labor, or lack thereof, come to fruition. And it hurts. And it's going to be ugly. And as you mentioned last week, you start looking at the schedule, the wins get tough. And being able to say a for sure win gets really, really tough.
Yeah, and they really are selling this whole mindset of we gotta go through some growing pains here, and I'm willing to accept that to an extent. I think what bothers me the most as an OU fan, and I've always admit I'm completely biased when I talk about OU. I try to be fair and honest, but what bothers me the most is what I saw on Saturday. That wasn't a loss. That wasn't just going through growing pains. That was an utter embarrassment. And I can handle losses like the Kansas State loss the week before. That was fine. They were competitive. They weren't, getting embarrassed, for 4 quarters. But this last week, man, that was the saddest I've ever been post-Stoops era as a Sooner fan, because it was just like, first of all, it looked like someone poisoned the defense the morning of the game. missed assignments everywhere, missed tackling, you name it. And they looked like they weren't ready. They weren't prepared. And that's very, very disheartening, especially with a guy like Venables, because at least with Venables, I think the hope was this defense is going to be in the right spots. They're gonna make the tackle when they're there, when they're able to get to the guy. They're going to wrap up and tackle. The first couple of weeks, I saw them game tackling 4 or 5 Sooners around every ball carrier, and that's what I was loving to see to start the year. But you look at last week, Venables defended his guys, saying, the effort was there. We just didn't put them in the right places, which is, coach speak, and he's looking out for his guys, which I can appreciate. But honestly, listen, this isn't a scheme. Some of that stuff was not a scheme thing. That was the scary part. It wasn't a scheme thing. Wrapping up and tackling a ball carrier is not a scheme thing. You're a D1 football player at one of the major universities in the country. You should know how to wrap up and tackle. You should know that, when this guy goes in motion, I need to be in this zone or I need to be on this man, depending on what defense we're running. And, it's that those are the concerning parts, because I didn't see any energy. I didn't see any effort. I just saw them roll over and take it. And that's what bothers me the most. Not losing. I can handle losses. We've handled losses in the past, but Kansas State, I was fine. But this is a whole nother ball game. I never, ever want to see this amount of embarrassment again in a loss. At least give me some effort and some passion and some energy. I mean, the starting quarterback got knocked out on a questionable, quote unquote, dirty hit. I think the team ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive, but faded back to obscureness afterwards. I mean, what does it take to get you fired up and in this game and, getting any sort of productivity out of your defense? The defense was just so bad. Obviously, the offense is one thing, but the defense was giving up points every possession. Bevel on offense, the backup quarterback, he just reminded me, those parents that would help, fill in for the coaches when, the little league team or when the head coach was out of town and the assistant coach was out of town too, or he had to work. And they're like, well, let's just get Jerry. He's an insurance salesman and he doesn't know anything about sports, but we just need an adult in there to, sign papers and stuff. That's how it felt with Bevel in there. He's just taking snaps and handing the ball off. Can't complete a pass to save his life. He's not a good quarterback. Let's be real. So get Nick Evers in there. Get him ready. If Gabriel can't go, I need to see Nick Evers. I mean, you're not going to win with Bevel. He can take snaps and hand the ball off. If that's all you need, then hey, call me up. I've got some eligibility left from TCC, I'm pretty sure. Give me a break, guys. This is not Oklahoma football. It needs to change.
OU defensive coordinator Ted Roof was asked during his press conference on Monday, I believe it was Monday, about potentially simplifying the game plan. Quote, "We're committed to what we do because we have a lot of flexibility within our scheme. We're going to continue our process of how we game plan, how we install, and how we practice and take it to the game field." Sounds like there's a little bit of, this is how we're going to do things. These guys have to start getting on board, and the guys that do will be on the field.
And it could very well be, a lot of it is a new scheme, a new whole,
mentality
process, mentality change, new, this defense isn't like anything they saw with Grinch. So it's going to be completely different. And I get that. That's fine. But do not tell me that roster should be getting beat by 30, 40 points by a TCU team. Do not tell me that. Yeah. I don't care how unfamiliar with the game plan, the schemes they are. That should not happen. And that's what drives me crazy the most. I will say, I did hear a quote from Venables that kind of put some perspective in it. And I don't know if he's just saving his own ass here. He could be. I mean, hey, I would be too, But he mentioned that the Clemson 2021 team, they started off 4-3, right? And everyone wanted to burn to the program to the ground, clean house.
Oh yeah, I remember. I mean,
Clemson's done.
Is the dynasty over? Yeah.
Clemson's done, Dabo's done, they're all done. Let's rebuild here. And Clemson ended up finishing the year 10-3.
Yep.
And they went 6-2 in their conference, and they got a bowl victory. And now you look at them this year; they're back to a top 5 team. So I would preach a little bit of patience, but that type of performance just isn't going to fly very long in Norman.
All right, let's move from there to a former quarterback in Norman. Over in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers, Baker Mayfield, a lot of questions of should he continue as the starting quarterback for the Panthers, and Matt Rule was asked that question during his press conference yesterday.
Is your plan to continue with Baker as your starting quarterback, or will you look to somebody else to give a spark, or what is your plan moving forward?
I think Baker's our quarterback. We have to continue to find ways to help him, and then help the other guys. Sam's not cleared right now. And we're just going to keep trying to get better.
I think Baker's our quarterback. Not exactly a ringing endorsement or high praise or confidence behind Matt Rule's statement there, if you ask me. Interesting take from Rule. May have just been word choice, poor word choice, but that sure makes me think that that leash is super short for Baker Mayfield. And yeah, Rule goes into it. Hey, our playmakers and guys around him have to support him as well. And I don't disagree with that. But Baker's also got to start making the throws. And I go back to last year when he was with the Browns, Monday Night Football, towards the end of the season, Manning cast, and Peyton Manning and Eli are basically just breaking down the terrible footwork of Baker Mayfield and some of the issues there. And I won't forget Peyton basically saying in so many words, if he could get that cleaned up, if he had a good quarterbacks coach that could clean this stuff up, he'd probably be what we all expected.
Ding, ding, ding.
And it just blows me away. And it's part of the problem with the NFL and that you see so often. And it makes me wonder, is that what he's been surrounded by coaching-wise? Or is that a Baker Mayfield not willing to put in the work in his own time during the offseason, getting a quarterback's coach to go in and fix those things? And to continue showing up. I mean, it's just like you look at pro golfers. They've got their swing coach showing up. College golfers are the same way. They've got a coach that recruited them to come to school, but they still have their swing coach who's coming in, or they're going to see them every time they have an opportunity to fix little issues within their swing. Baker needs to see that swing coach, for lack of better term. I mean, he's got to get a quarterback's coach that is going to be there and going to correct those items, even if it's not one paid for by the team.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of, what Peyton Manning was saying and kind of what you're saying is, I think we got to step back and look at Baker Mayfield's career in the NFL. Full disclosure, I am one of the biggest Baker backers in the world, and I will get to my criticism of him very shortly, I promise you.
Do you have one of those
doesn't
chef
happen
hats?
very often.
You got one of the hats?
Yes, I have all the
Baker backer?
all the swag, all the Baker swag, but
You guys meet at a bar in Tulsa?
not anymore, not this year, that's
okay.
for sure. Gotcha. But let's just take a step back real quick and look at his 5-year career in the NFL. During his tenure as a professional, he has had 5 different head coaches. He has had 6 different offensive coordinators / interim play callers. That alone, I mean, you have to kind of attribute some of this, underperforming to that. I mean, Carolina Panthers, he gets the rug pulled out from under him from the Cleveland Browns, and he joins a new team weeks before training camp starts. A brand new team, brand new organization, brand new teammates, and he's got to pick up this system and hit the ground running because they expect him to be the starting quarterback because that's what they brought him in for. And, the weird part is he actually had a pretty decent preseason. It looked like they were clicking on offense. It really, really did. But the thing that's concerning me most about Baker right now, and this is on Baker, this is what I'm blaming Baker for. He looks defeated for the first time in his entire life. I have never seen Baker with this low of energy, with this low amount of passion. It looks like he is so timid. He's afraid to make plays. He's afraid to make those throws that he usually was never afraid to make. He's got that gunslinger mentality. And I am just seeing a timid Baker Mayfield, and I never, ever thought I would see that. To be fair, I feel like a lot of his offensive teammates also kind of have that low energy, just no drive in their play. I mean, you can read their body language, and it is bad. And what I honestly think it is, I think the first step the Carolina organization needs to take, there's a lot of talk about getting Rule out of there, which is, fine by me. I get it. There's a lot to go off of there, and I'm with people on that. But if I was the GM, first decision I make, Ben McAdoo, you are no longer needed here. Offensive coordinator, get out of here. We're going a different direction because this is awful. And I just want to give you quick reasons why I say McAdoo out first. Obviously, look at game film. Look at their offense on a weekly basis, and look how bad it is. But there's just no adjustments. There's not playing towards any playmaker's strengths. He's got Baker Mayfield back there, and he's still trying to hit those quick out routes when every pass is getting batted down at the line of scrimmage. Adjust the game plan, man. Like, help your quarterback out, help your running back out, help your whole team out. And it's wild to me that McAdoo keeps getting jobs in the NFL, or at least with this high of responsibility. He starts off, he's been in the league for a long time. I think his first major role was Packers quarterback coach in 2012 and 2013. Now, let's just be honest. Who does he have in Green Bay to make him look like a good option? One of the best of all time, Aaron Rodgers. So from Green Bay, he gets the offensive coordinator position at the New York Giants in 2014 and 2015. That was the team that had Eli Manning, Odell Beckham Jr. The 2 seasons he was offensive coordinator, they went 6-10 both years. They thought, let's get Coughlin out of here and promote this offensive coordinator guy. That's a great idea. We just went 6-10 2 straight years, so let's keep it in-house, right? So 2016, 2017. In 2016, his first year, they ranked 28th in offense. In 2017, they ranked 31st in offense. Now, they did have a winning season, but obviously, being second to last ranked offense, a lot of it had to do with their phenomenal defense. He was the guy who benched Eli Manning, and that was a big controversy. And he ended up getting fired after a 2-10 start in New York in his last year. He kind of floated around, was the quarterback coach for the Jags in 2020. Hey, just curious, how are the 2020 Jags? Well, they were 1-15, and they had the 30th ranked offense. Then he moves into a consultant position. He just keeps getting demoted. So 2021 Cowboys consultant. Why the Panthers thought Ben McAdoo is our guy for our offense moving forward, I will never, ever know. I understand that Matt Rule is new to the NFL, and they wanted a veteran NFL coach in there to kind of help show him the ropes. But Ben McAdoo is not that guy, and I will die on that hill, change that offensive coordinator, get some energy in that locker room, and let these guys play the game they love to play.
Well, I mean, that's after they fired Joe Brady last season as their offensive coordinator. After he had such great success at LSU as the offensive coordinator with Joe Burrow. Now he's the quarterback's coach for the Buffalo Bills. They seem to be doing all right.
Sure.
Yeah,
Am I crazy here? I have the Baker blinders on too much, and I know that. But with the play call, like McAdoo is calling the worst offensive game plan I've ever seen in these games. He doesn't make any adjustments.
It's like hiring Garrett Will or no, why can't I? Jason Garrett. Just getting my names all
Yes,
crossed
it
up.
is.
It's like hiring Jason Garrett as your offensive coordinator for the New York Giants last year.
Right.
Like, why? Why?
Right.
What made you say, "Yep, that makes sense"?
It's strictly experience. That's all it's got to be. And it doesn't matter how the experience went, obviously. It's just, oh, this guy's been in the league a while. He'll know some things.
Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, see, that's what they call a transition, Brad, in the business. Quarterback controversy? Question mark. Cooper Rush has been impressive. Dak Prescott has been on the injured list after breaking that thumb, surgery. Jerry Jones, as he does each week, went on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas and was asked about Prescott's hand. What can you tell us this morning about Dak Prescott's hand? That was earlier on Tuesday that he was asked. His response, well, I know that it's better, and I know that he's going to go out there every day and make progress toward being able to grip the ball. I don't know that you could ask for better news technically, physically, and how it's responding, how it's healing, so to speak. And so all of those things are on go. And I don't know that as we go by each day, if considering the injury, considering the location of the injury, I don't know that you could make any more progress. There's some things here about healing that I often say only the man upstairs knows how that works, but he'll have a big week and he'll be hard on himself getting it ready to go. It's all I can say. Jerry was then asked, is he able to grip the football now? To which he responded, quote, no, not well enough to play. Jerry was then also asked about the decision between Romo and Dak and how it's different from the Dak versus Rush decision, because that is being brought up from 2016 to now in 2022, because the team was 10 games into a season. The team was, quote, really into Dak, and they had momentum. That was the big difference, according to Jerry Jones. And then Jerry also told 105.3 The Fan, quote, we'll see how the week goes relative to Dak's availability for the Rams. So Jerry kind of walked back from his statement a week or so ago regarding a quarterback controversy or competition or the potential of a Cooper Rush, if things go well, holding on to that job. But Brad, if you're winning, do you go away from winning no matter how the quarterback is playing? Which Cooper Rush is playing all right. He's playing well. The offense is playing well. Dak, I mean, there's question marks when they signed him to that big deal of has he proven it? And now he's injured, and you have a guy that was undrafted, I believe, in Cooper Rush out of Central Michigan. Am I right on that? That is now in that spot, and they're winning and having success. And they didn't have all the toys for him. I mean, Michael Gallup returned this past week. Dalton Schultz returning. Some of those pieces that everybody was concerned about Dak being able to do things without were not available to Cooper Rush, and now you may go to a Dak Prescott that is probably trying to rush himself back as well to get onto the field. And, I mean, they haven't won a ton with Dak.
In my eyes, they made their decision when they signed the contract with Dak.
I mean, the financial, it doesn't make sense financially by any means to move away from Dak. But if you're winning, do you at least ride that until you don't win? I mean, you can always pull Cooper Rush at halftime or in the first quarter for all I care. Throws 2 picks or throws a pick, whatever it is, push Dak out there. But you're winning. You're having success. Why shake up the apple cart when you're delivering apples just fine?
I think everybody needs to take a step back and comprehend what's happening here. What do teams sign backup quarterbacks for? They sign them to come in, manage the game, and give them a chance to win. And Cooper Rush is doing his job as a backup quarterback. Congratulations. He is playing well, he's getting wins, and that's great. But he is not the answer to the Cowboys getting over the hump. Is Dak Prescott? I don't really know. I've never been a big believer that the Cowboys are a Super Bowl team with Dak Prescott. But I will say this. You've made your decision already. When you gave Dak the money, you decided he is your guy for the foreseeable future, and so you're going to ride this one out. And I haven't really seen enough to say that, nah, sit Dak. Like, let's make the change right now for Cooper Rush. I have not seen, Dak hasn't underperformed that much in my eyes. I mean, yes, you're not getting over the hump in the playoffs and whatever you want to say there, but I think Dak has had a pretty decent NFL career, and that's why he got that contract. So let's just keep it calm. You're 3-1. The backup did his job. Let's get our franchise quarterback back in there, and let's move forward.
So you want a little Gary Patterson, huh?
Give me just a little more of your heart. I said ready, set, start. Take a step back. Take a step back. Take a step back. Take a step back. Everybody stop where you're at.
So we need to take a step back. All right, Brad. You and Gary Patterson.
And
think we
Jerry
should take a step
Jones
back.
needs to shut his stupid old mouth, for the love of God. He is their worst enemy. I know he made that team. I get it. But just shut up, dude.
Yeah, but Jerry likes to hear himself. But I would agree. Jerry needs to
Everybody stop where you're at. Take a step back. You know it.
take a step back.
I think he needs to take a step back and see what Vince McMahon did this year.
Oh, hey. Man, it's already out there that he has an illegitimate child and that he
Well,
gave hush money to.
who of those? who
And
of
he
that
still
ilk
didn't
doesn't?
resign and hasn't gone away. So, all right. Big news this evening as we record this on Tuesday night, like we always do, to hit all the podcast provider pages and all that Wednesday morning. Aaron Judge hit his 62nd home run, passing Roger Maris for the American League and Yankees home run single season leader. Came in the third pitch of the second game of a doubleheader in Arlington against the Texas Rangers. Roger Maris Jr. named Judge the, quote, new clean home run king. He still sits behind Sosa, McGuire, and Barry Bonds. Sosa and McGuire have a couple different seasons ahead of the 62 by Aaron Judge, and Barry Bonds 10 ahead of Judge on the single season home run list. Your thoughts, Brad, when it comes to the home run king? Who is it in your mind for a single season?
Baseball is such a headache, isn't it?
It
Major
really
League
is.
Baseball.
It is.
But can they do anything right, is my question. Great accomplishment for Aaron Judge. I just want to get that out of the way right now. I think what he did this season was very special. It brought more interest to baseball than normal, just like the summer of '98 did with McGuire and Sosa. You know, I think this is just it's a personal taste question. I personally don't care. I don't care. I don't care about the steroids. Like, you know,
Yeah.
if it was a problem, you should have stopped them.
That's my
But
thought.
you didn't.
I mean,
They played.
they
You let
allowed
them
it.
play.
It was within the
you
rules.
let them get the records. You let them stick around. So guess what? They're your leaders, and they were juiced up, baby. They were
within the
drugged
rules.
out, and those are your guys. Congratulations.
It was
I don't really care.
Yeah, it was within the rules.
Yeah, I don't care.
In the rules of baseball.
Juice them all up if you want. I don't care.
They didn't
but
test,
like,
so they didn't care.
pick a side of the fence. Just pick a side of the fence, and don't flip flop back and forth. I think Aaron Judge can be called the home run king without the bad taste in your mouth when you say it, and that's what I will give to Aaron Judge. And when I think about it, he's still the American League,
Yeah.
all-time leader, which is it's an amazing accomplishment. I mean,
Yes.
you think of some of those franchises in the American League and his own team. I mean, he had to pass two of his own, former Yankees. And I just think that people should just give it a rest. Put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, for God's sakes. I don't care. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Stop the drama. Just pick a side and let's go.
I agree. Staying in baseball, big news up in Tulsa, where Savannah Bananas are heading to One Oak Field, May 29th, 2023, the world-famous baseball circus,
Now that's baseball, baby.
affectionately referred to as the greatest show in sports by ESPN, is making its way to T-Town as they are bringing their 7-city 2022 Banana Ball World Tour on the road and into Tulsa. Should be a good time. I'm sure those tickets will sell fast. They are going to Oklahoma City, I believe, the following week or something like that, so not too far behind. What is Banana Ball? It is a new version of baseball created by the Savannah Bananas. Features 9 new rules that are intended to make the game more fast-paced and entertaining. If you've seen their videos on TikTok, they'll dance and come out with a bat on fire and stilts, and it's the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
Literally.
And it's
Modern day.
probably one of the biggest things baseball needed. So they will make their way to T-Town, Oklahoma City on that list, Sugar Land as well here in Texas. So a couple different places along with playing some of their games right there in Savannah, Georgia. So at Grayson Stadium. Banana Ball World Tour coming to T-Town. And with that, Brad, you brought this up. Why not rank our top 3 minor league team nicknames according to us, Brad and Steve? So, Brad, I will let you go first, my friend.
Well, thank you.
Because you don't get to go first in other things because you're a loser.
Okay.
What?
There it is. You can't just let me have something.
What happened? I blacked out. What happened? What happened?
Yeah, okay.
I blacked out. It's getting late.
I'm going to start with
Where you starting?
number 3.
I'm curious to see what your mindset is. Like, are you
I'm just
going to be
going
like
what
a
brings me joy.
Okay, I
What
was going to say,
sparks
are you like
joy?
some like traditional guy, or are you going to go like what's super wacky, or what brings
I
you
think
joy?
what sparks joy and what's genuinely funny to me. I think some people try to be funny and it's not really funny. It doesn't land, but
Okay.
I fully stand behind these teams I'm about to mention.
All right.
First up, out of Burlington, North Carolina, I'm going with the Burlington Sock Puppets.
Sock puppets, huh?
Yes.
What classification
out
is
of
that?
the Appalachian League. It's a collegiate league.
Oh, okay. You're dipping into the collegiate league. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. I mean, debatable if that's a minor league, but okay, whatever. I'll let it slide
It's
this
all
time.
minor league, isn't it?
I'll let it slide. We'll let
Anything
it go.
under majors?
Yeah, we'll let it go.
Okay. Appreciate it.
It works. Your second one, or is that 3? Either way, it's your second one.
Okay. So, my second team in this very prestigious list.
Very.
We are
Scientific.
staying in we're staying in North Carolina, heading over to Winston-Salem.
Okay.
In the All-American Amateur Baseball Association, the ABA
You
for
made
short.
that up.
No. Quite possibly the best logo in the game. I'm going with the Carolina Disco Turkeys. Cue the music, baby. Oh, we don't have disco music queued up, sorry. Highly entertaining thought here. You've got yourself a turkey, but it's more of like a peacock, actually. And they have a Saturday Night Fever disco suit on. And they are dancing, and they got themselves a baseball bat.
Yeah, that's totally a peacock. I was really thinking a turkey.
Hey, disco turkey, I don't know. But I'm here for it. And then,
Hold on.
okay.
All of a sudden I begin to change. I was on the dance floor acting strange.
Little disco duck? You don't even know anything about that. You know nothing about that.
I don't know about disco duck.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Also, the AABA, whatever.
The ABBA.
ABBA.
ABBA, you know?
Huge
Mamma
new
mia.
fan.
Yeah?
Are you subscribing to the ABBA Plus video streaming network?
I am. Yeah, I'm going to volunteer to be, concession stand guy if I need to.
If you start gambling on that,
Hey, don't put it past me.
yeah, you are degenerate.
In 3 a.m. when all you got's like Russian table tennis to bet on. That's kind of where I'm at sometimes.
Vladimir is really screwing you over.
Yeah, like that won't be fixed. I don't know why I play it, but there's good odds sometimes. So.
Anyways.
Okay, and wrapping up, we are gonna go ahead and stay in the South. I guess
You're
you
just
would
not
call
getting
it.
out of North Carolina, are you?
No, we're leaving North Carolina now.
North
We had a good time in
Carolina
North Carolina.
minor league baseball teams.
We're going to one of my. I'm not gonna say it because we could have fans there. We're going to Montgomery, Alabama.
Montgomery. Okay.
Montgomery, Alabama, and we're heading to see the Montgomery Biscuits play some baseball. A fantastic logo. What I can only assume is a biscuit man with a slice of butter for his tongue and some silly ass eyes on the top of his head.
As it should be.
Simple yet powerful.
Yes.
And that's what you're looking for in a minor league team. You just need, when you buy a silly shirt from a silly minor league team, you need something like that Biscuit Man. Honorary mentions, though.
Okay.
The Modesto Nuts.
Okay.
I wanna shout them out.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure I get this one right because this was my favorite mascot. It wasn't really a silly name. It was my favorite mascot, though. Are you ready for this one? I need you to acknowledge this one. Kannapolis Cannonballers.
There we go. All right.
Are you familiar with the Kannapolis Cannonballers?
I'm not.
Their mascot, I don't know what it is about this guy, but he just brings me so much peace when I look at him. It's a baseball. He looks like an Evel Knievel.
Yes.
He's a baseball version of Evel Knievel.
Yep.
But he's got a giant mustache. He's got the goggles and the helmet.
Yes.
And he just looks like a good dude. And he looks like he would help you move if you asked him to. He's got the pickup truck. He'll come over for some pizza and beer and move your whole house for you. There's my list.
So, here's the story. According to Wikipedia, the Piedmont Boll Weevils kept the Boll Weevil name, okay, until after the 2000 season when NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt purchased a share in the team's ownership. It was then that the name was changed to the Kannapolis Intimidators in honor of Earnhardt's nickname. The team logo was designed by Sam Bass, who has designed paint schemes and uniforms on many NASCAR, IndyCar, and NHRA race cars. It was also during that offseason that the team's parent company changed from the Phillies to the White Sox, making the Intimidators the third White Sox farm team to be located in the Carolinas. Earnhardt, who drove the number 3 car, was killed in an accident in February 2001. Following his death, the Intimidators avoided assigning the number 3 for team uniforms. So they played in Intimidators Stadium. The cannon was still under construction when
Gets better. It gets better. So, everyone, you're welcome for all of this new knowledge that I know none of you knew. So just to recap, I have the Burlington Sock Puppets, I have the Carolina Disco Turkeys, and I've got the Montgomery Biscuits. Honorable mentions, the Modesto Nuts and the Kannapolis Cannonballers. That's your list. Beat that, Steve.
So the mascot, a baseball-headed stuntman, has a mustache reminiscent of Earnhardt's.
Yeah.
So that's
Top
how
that.
it came about. All right, I'm gonna go. I wrote down 4. I've got to narrow it to 3, and then have my honorable mention like Brad did. I'm gonna go number 1, the Richmond Flying Squirrels, AA
Good
affiliates
choice.
of the Giants. I don't know, just the Flying Squirrel name it's fun. It looks
The logo is
it's a
pretty good,
logo.
actually.
Yeah, good
It's
logo.
like a fierce flying squirrel somehow.
Yes, it is. Number 2, I'm going to go with the Hartford Yard Goats, AA affiliate of the Colorado Rockies. Another solid logo, especially for an animal that's not intimidating or really brings fear into you. Somehow they did make it look somewhat fierce. I'm going to go number 3, the Augusta Green Jackets, just the play on words. Tip of the cap there. I enjoy it. It's what looks like a yellow jacket, but green, so Green Jackets makes sense. And then my honorable mention would be the Lansing Lugnuts, another good one. Just solid. I don't know. I just like
those are some good lists.
I just like the name. The name is good. The logo's not great with the Lugnuts.
And I think we're both on board with the Savannah Bananas. So
Yes. Yeah. Yep. All right. It is time for us to quickly move into our fantasy football picks of the week. You went first last week, so I will lead it off this week after I was victorious, 68.5 points to 62. It was the highest scoring week we had. What's that?
There's just a common theme this episode of Oklahoma Sooners breaking my freaking heart. Mark Andrews scoring 2 points. That's all I was saying.
2 points.
Cost
for
me the
Mark
game,
Andrews.
yes.
Yeah. Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, and Travis Kelce was my team. Aaron Rodgers, Nick Chubb, Mike Evans, and Mark Andrews for Brad. I come away with a victory there. And that means we move to 2-1 on the year for Steve. And I get the first pick, and I will start it off with, I'm going to go with a guy that did well for you, wide receiver Mike Evans to start things off. The Buccaneers will take on the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know if you heard, but Tom Brady's been in the news just a little bit. Apparently he and Giselle have hired divorce attorneys. So
yeah, we got lucky with our day of the week because there's a lot of breaking news today.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff out there.
Aaron Judge sets history. Brady gets divorced. I mean,
well, he hasn't yet. They've hired attorneys.
This
according
is
to reports.
Most of a breaking news show you could be for Tuesday recordings.
Yes, but I think old Tom is going to be out for kind of prove it mentality even more so. They're taking on the Falcons, so what better time to prove anything? And Mike Evans probably going to roll once again. So I'll go Mike Evans to start things off.
Okay. I'm going to start off with the tight end position because it cost me last week.
Okay.
I will take tight end Darren Waller of the Las Vegas Raiders against the Kansas City Chiefs. Plain and simple, Waller's one of the best tight ends in the league. The Raiders have an atrocious defense, so I believe they will need to get into a track meet with the Kansas City Chiefs, thus Waller being needed more. I know they have Devontae Adams, but they're going to have to spread it around a little bit to keep up, so give me Darren Waller at tight end.
All right. I'm going to stay in that same game, jump over to stay with the Oakland Raiders as well, pardon me, and go with Josh Jacobs at running back against the Kansas City Chiefs. Jacobs has started to figure things out. The Raiders figured things out, got their first victory this past week, and I think old Joshua may be relied upon a little bit more with McDaniels moving forward as the season progresses because of the success they had and that leading to victory. So Josh Jacobs will be my running back.
Okay. Josh Jacobs looked great last week, I will say. I'm going to the quarterback position, and I will take Jalen Hurts at the Arizona Cardinals. I just need to jump in on this Hurts train because he is a fantasy machine. He's got 8 total touchdowns this year, and he has upped his passing game with a 66% completion rate. Give me Hurts against the Cards.
All right. I'll go quarterback as well, and I will go with Aaron Rodgers against the New York Football Giants. Rodgers had a decent game this past week, has shown signs of getting back to who we expect. I like him against the Giants, a team that runs the ball a ton behind Saquon. I just see success for Rodgers and the Packers as he plays against the Giants in this one. So A-Rod for me.
Are you worried about it being an overseas game?
No.
No? Okay.
No, he's just going to...
Just checking.
I know,
Just
but
checking.
he's going to be fine.
Don't take it personal.
He'll be
Jeez.
fine.
So, I'm
Heck,
going to go...
He can probably actually take his special juice. His hypnotic
his
stuff over
ayahuasca.
there. Yeah.
His immunizations.
Yeah, whatever.
Give me a typically a backup player. I'm going to go with running back Jamal Williams playing the New England Patriots. This is going to be a road game at New England. Jamal, even though being a backup, has 6 touchdowns on the year, and I see this being a favorable matchup for running the football. I think both teams are going to try and grind it out. New England has some quarterback issues. Lost Mac Jones to injury. Lost Brian Hoyer to injury. Playing with rookie Zappi. So I see this as more of a conservative game, trying not to make the mistake first. And Jamal Williams is just a goal line fiend. So give me Jamal Williams.
I like that pick. Like it a lot. All right, to wrap things up in our fantasy segment, I'm going to go with... I'll go Dawson Knox, tight end of the Buffalo Bills, going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that will have a new quarterback in Kenny Pickett for the Steelers. Why would that impact Dawson Knox? Well, I think they'll get the ball a lot with the Buffalo Bills. I think they'll get it early and often. He'll go down and score early, and then they'll probably turn it over to the run game and let things happen there. But I like Dawson Knox against Pittsburgh.
Okay. And to wrap up my team, I'm going with wide receiver Cooper Kupp against the Dallas Cowboys. Cooper Kupp is averaging over 10 receptions a game, so I don't really need many more reasons than that. But I do see Micah Parsons terrorizing Matthew Stafford a bit, so he needs to get the ball out of his hands. And who can get open in a quick amount of time? Cooper Kupp. Hopefully gets 15 catches. Not many yards probably, but give me a couple touchdowns as well.
All right, so the starting lineups for this week for Brad, Jalen Hurts, Jamal Williams at running back, Cooper Kupp at wide receiver, and Darren Waller at tight end. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback overseas, Josh Jacobs at running back, Mike Evans at wide receiver, and Dawson Knox at tight end. that brings us to our final portion of the show, our Against the Spread. And Brad, I am 7-2 on the season. Went 2-1 last week. UConn won outright against Fresno State after being 24
Kudos.
after
Round
being
of applause.
24-point favorites in that one.
Oh, good for you.
Yes, thank you. And I also got the UTSA Middle Tennessee game right. UTSA 4-point favorites in that one. They came away with the 15-point victory there. Yes, thank you very much. Texas Tech, I did get wrong. They lost by 11. They were 8-point dogs there. So, or no, 9-point difference in that game. Pardon me, I can't do math. 37-28, Texas Tech fell to Kansas State. They were 8-point dogs. They lost by 9, missed that one by just 1 point. And Brad, you went 1-2 last week. You're 2-7 now on the season.
Bohica, buddy. That stands for bend over. Here it comes again.
And Alabama, you had them, or you took Arkansas, 17.5-point dogs. They fell by 23 to Alabama.
Quick note on that. They
Yes, go
pulled
ahead.
it to within 6 in the fourth quarter and still didn't cover. So typical Arkansas. Thank you.
Boring.
And Michigan, 10.5-point favorites against Iowa. They won 27-14. So you got that one right.
Boom. Slumps over.
And, yeah.
This is going great.
And then the Washington Huskies. You took them 3-point favorites at UCLA, the Bruins. And all you got to say to Chip Kelly is,
Boo! 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 Yeah, that's right. Get y'all asses out of here. Sorry.
because UCLA, they were outright winners, 40-32 over the Washington Huskies. So 1-2 on the on the week for Brad, 2-7 on the year. I am 7-2 on the year after a 2-1 week. And Brad, I get to go first because we're going golf rules now, right?
Yes, sir.
And,
Lead the way, because I'm just going to write down what you play and
then
bet
go
it,
and then
so.
go to the bank.
Yeah, I'm either going to jinx you or I'm going to make some money. That's how this is going to play out.
All right, so I'm going to go with a game that is actually tomorrow night. It was moved from Saturday. Or actually moved from, Saturday on the 1st. Or no, that was Friday. Either way, I'm going to go with SMU and UCF. The Golden Knights, 3-point favorites in this one. I'm going to take SMU +3 at UCF in Orlando. SMU 2-2 on the season. Tanner Mordecai, their quarterback, former Oklahoma quarterback. Sooners would probably love to have him at quarterback this season. Taking on UCF, whose leading rusher is their quarterback, Plumlee, the transfer from Ole Miss, who has 404 yards this season. UCF 3-1 on the year. This is a conference game, the American Athletic Conference. I'm going to go Pony Express +3 at UCF to get us started here in our Against the Spread section.
Okay, well, I am going right back to the well that screwed me last week. My first pick,
Arkansas?
I am going out to the West Coast again. I've got Utah -4.5 at UCLA. Fair. I think the Utes are rounding into form. I really do. And if you remember a few weeks back when we had our college playoff predictions, I had the Utes getting that 4th spot.
You did.
Because I believe they are one of the most complete teams in the nation. I truly believe that they are just a good football team. Now, they've got the 6th ranked defense in the nation, only allowing 14 points per game. And the offense is finally getting its act together, averaging 42 points a game. Give me Utah -4.5 against the UCLA Bruins.
You know, I don't hate it. I don't hate
That's
it.
fair.
I don't
That's
hate
progress.
it. I don't hate it. I didn't want to touch it because UCLA has been playing well.
Sure.
They've been playing well.
I just don't. I still don't buy
I don't believe 'em.
UCLA's
Yeah.
schedule.
No, I don't disagree with that.
The Washington win, it's a good
Still
win, but
terrifies
if you
me.
watch that game, I think, Washington turned the ball over a couple times, handed UCLA a lot of free points, and they were driving back at the end to try and tie it. So I'm not there on the Bruins yet, and I am definitely there on the Utes. So
Still terrifies me. Just saying. Just saying. All right. I'm going to go to the state of Georgia. A showdown in Georgia. Georgia Southern at Georgia State. Georgia Southern, a 3-point dog. Yes, the same Georgia Southern Eagles squad that went to Lincoln, Nebraska, got the 3-point victory, is now a 3-point dog against Georgia State, who is currently 1-4 on the season. Both teams lost to Coastal Carolina earlier this season. Georgia Southern did last week, 34-30, tight contest there. Georgia State lost to them 41-24 2 weeks ago. They're playing at Georgia State. The Panthers, the favorite in this one, at +3, or at -3, pardon me, -3. I'm going to take Georgia Southern +3 against their in-state conference rival in the Sun Belt. Georgia Southern's going to move to 1-1 in the Sun Belt. Book it. Cash the ticket, because it's going to cash. You like it, Brad? You like it? You
I
love
like it. I'm already at the window, placing my bet.
Good. Good.
Going back to the well.
Oh, boy. Will
But
you
this one.
This is like you and your dating life.
This one. God, I want to dispute your zingers, but you're nailing them lately, so I can't. I'm going back to the well, but this one gave me water last time.
Struggling.
The disrespect towards this football team is unacceptable. They are a top 20 team now. But I am taking Kansas Jayhawks,
There it is.
+7 at home against the TCU Horned Frogs. Now, I know a lot of people are high on TCU after shellacking the OU Sooners. But I think that victory is a bit overblown. And I honestly, Kansas has had a tougher schedule to me with wins against teams like West Virginia, Houston, Duke, Iowa State. They are proving it week in and week out that they belong in the rankings. And they are again playing a home game. I don't know how many home games they get, but apparently every week they get a home game. Lawrence is going to be rocking. You know why? Because college game. I'm going to start that over again. I don't feel good about this pick anymore. Lawrence, Kansas is going to be rocking. And you know why? Because college game day is in town. That little city has nothing to look forward to except for basketball. And it's actually a decent college town. I will give it that. But college game day is going to bring the party, and I know the Jayhawks are going to show up. Give me Kansas +7 at home. Disrespectful.
See, I'm terrified. I looked at that game and I was like, ooh.
Everybody's terrified. That's why
Game
they're
day,
underdogs.
Game day, in town. This is setting
Maybe they're
up
just
for
a good team.
They might, and I think they are. I think they're playing well. I just that's
honestly,
setting up for them to fail.
Kansas money line's at +222. So even sprinkle a little bit on that if you're feeling confident in the Jayhawks.
A little bit of dust on that one, eh?
A little bit.
A little bit of dust on that one. All right, I'm gonna go. So the sad part is I have 2 ACC games written down, and then I have an independent showdown, and I don't know which one I want to go with.
Is it the Burlington Sock Puppets?
It is not. I did not go with them.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go with it. A matchup that would be decent on the hardwood, Brad. I'm going to take Duke -3 at Georgia Tech. Don't ask me why, because I don't know why.
I do not hate that. I honestly don't. I mean, Duke's only loss came to this Kansas Jayhawk team that I was just raving about.
Yes.
And they're a competitive team, and Georgia Tech is not. So I don't hate the pick.
Their coach
Georgia
last
Tech's
week.
awful.
Georgia Tech fired their coach last week,
Really bad.
and we know how things go when they fire their coach.
They had Calvin Johnson and ran the ball. Go Blue Devils.
Yeah.
I am finally breaking the trend in this competition over the past couple weeks, and I'm going back. That's right. I'm
You're going back
baby.
to the well.
We're going to the league.
No.
The NFL.
Okay. All right. I thought you were. Oh gosh.
No, we're not going back to the well. We're just going back to the NFL.
Okay.
Give me the Philadelphia Eagles -5 at Arizona. Eagles are the only remaining unbeaten team in the league. Now, do I think that's going to last much longer? Probably not. But hey, you got to give credit where it's due. They are playing very well. They had a tough matchup against Jacksonville last week in the slop in Philly, and they came away victorious even after getting down 14-0 early. I think the Cardinals are bad. To be frank, the Cardinals are bad. They got a victory last week in Carolina, but that's not saying much. And then their defense has been atrocious, coming in at 25th in the league. Eagles have a well-balanced attack, 6th in the league in passing and 5th in rushing. And you know what? They're good on the other side of the ball, too. 5th in defense. Give me the Eagles -5 at Arizona.
So take it to the bank. The Cardinals will win outright.
Arizona money line, baby.
Yeah, just go take Arizona
Hey, if you would have faded me
outright.
every week, you'd be up to a record of 7-2 right now.
Yes, you would.
So
You really,
I'm doing you a favor one way or the
really
other.
would.
You just got to know how to play it.
Yep.
It's not my fault you can't play it right.
Yeah,
I'm giving you the goods here.
He's
I'm
giving-
just as good as Steve. You just got to figure out which way it's going.
just got to take the other side with Brad.
Yeah.
All it
It's a
takes.
riddle, baby.
Just gotta. He's playing you all.
Ooh.
He's playing you all. All right. Well, we went like an hour plus. So, and I'm still awake. That's the amazing part. So, yeah. Follow us on our social media platforms. Twitter, Game On Guys. Facebook, Game On Pod. TikTok, Game On Pod. Email gameon@gmail.com. You can also check us out at gameonguys.wordpress.com. That's our website. You can see our Against the Spread picks, fantasy football picks. Contact us and also find out where you can subscribe to this podcast. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and on Amazon Music, along with Spotify and many others. For Brad Bollinger, I am Steve Braun. This has been another edition of Game On. See you next week.
2, 1, 2, 3.
Are you ready, America? It's time for another edition of Game On with your host, Stevie Ray Braun and Brad Bad News Bollinger. Sit back, relax.